Hey friends, Dr. Triviño. Let me tell you my thoughts about this book, Endurance by astronaut Scott Kelly. He spoke at the Atlanta History Center in November, and I'm just getting to read this book, which is a fascinating read. It chronicles the one-year adventures of this astronaut. He was up there in order to do a study to see how long-term space affects the human body. Of course, this is going to lead some of the foundations of some of the bases of going to Mars, which we need to understand. His brother, who's a twin brother, is also an astronaut, so they had able to check someone that was here on Earth and him up there at the same time and see how the impacts were. This book also is more than just simply chronicling what it's like to be in space, but how his rise. He was really lost kind of kid that didn't have focus, and he read the book The Right Stuff by Tom Wolfe, and it gave him a goal, something that he wanted to go into, to be a test pilot and eventually be an astronaut. It really chronicles how it's like to get through that process and how challenging it can be. Also, some of the things that take to be an astronaut: endurance, be willing to take a chance, also a lot of discipline to be train, and be ready for the unexpected. This book really is interesting because it makes you realize how little things that we appreciate, that we don't appreciate, that we have every day, are really missed in space. Like the sun in your face, like feeling different temperatures, like being able to take a bath and float in the water, and also to feel fresh air in your face. It is also a fascinating book in that a lot of the things that we are going to need to get to Mars, we really don't know yet. There's a lot of phenomena. For one reason, a lot of astronauts lose some of their eyesight. They think it may be some of the pressure. The body, you don't have gravity, so some of the fluid builds up in your head and it affects the shape of your eye, so it can affect your vision. Also, the loss of muscle mass, because you don't have gravity on you, you do need muscle to move around, and they have to keep training in order to not become a blob per se in that perspective. Also, the importance of relationships. You know, he tells a story how he was up there and he received a message. There was an important message that was one that was of his need to focus. It was an emergency call. He got on there and it was his daughter, and the daughter basically told him she felt alone, felt lonely that afternoon. And he's like, how can you feel lonely if he's up in space and she's here with 9 billion people on the planet? It also shares a lot of his intimate relationship with his partner and the struggles and the strains of that relationship, and how is it that they're able to, keep that relationship alive in order to make sure that they were a good support system, and how important family and friends are. When you're in space, if something were to happen down here, he couldn't come down here to a funeral or try to help out. And something did happen because his brother, Mark's wife, was a congressman. She got shot while he was in space, and he couldn't do anything about it. It was during that mission of the 1 year, but it was a mission when he was doing previously. He also talks about flying the space shuttle, flying different aircrafts, and also dealing with the Russians, how it's important to build that communication and build that reliance on people, because it's basically all about you and your safety. You rely on your life for someone else to make sure that everything, all the protocols are followed, and make sure that someone doesn't mess up. It's an excellent read, one that will give you hope in humanity and make you realize that we need to shoot for the stars in order to move forward as a civilization. So check it out. Endurance by Scott Kelly. 1 year in space.